Why is it so bright? Oh my god, that's even brighter. So you all asked for my stats and extracurriculars, so here we go. Before that though, I saw a bunch of comments about my posters. Yes, I have some Blackpink posters and some Twice posters. Rose and Suyu are my favorites. Back to the video. Okay, so I've been waiting to make this video forever, only to realize that I don't really know how. I think I'm just going to go through my comment app and give you guys most of the information that I talked about on there. And if you're curious, I applied as a chem major or a biochem major for most of my schools, but like it's not really binding anyway, so. Okay. So I went to a magnet high school and I was valedictorian in a class size of about 190. When I applied, my weighted GPA was a 4.75 and my unweighted GPA was a 4.0. I'll put my classes on the screen here from freshman year, for sophomore year, for junior year, and last but not least, senior year. So I did have straight A's throughout high school for all these classes, and just to give you guys some context about the weighting system, we give 5.0s for pre-APs and APs and 4.0s for honors courses. And we also have these required health science courses that are 4.0s, which is why I was valedictorian with a 4.75 instead of a perfect 5.0. So I took or am taking a total of 15 APs, well 14 because I dropped physics 2 last semester. I've taken 9 AP tests so far and I've gotten a 5 on 8 of them and a 4 on 1 of them. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's get to the fun stats that everybody asks about. So yes, obviously this year was test optional because of COVID, but I did take the SAT once sometime in I think September 2020, and I got a 1600 in one sitting, and so well I submitted that, and I decided not to take the ACT. I don't really remember if there's a section on the Common App for my PSAT, but if you're curious, I got a 1510 out of a 1520 in my junior year, which did qualify me for a National Merit semifinalist. As for SAT 2 subject tests, I did submit my 800 for Math 2, an 800 for Chemistry 2, and then a 770 on US History, which I was actually high-key surprised about because a lot of the questions on the test weren't covered in my review book. But it was a really good review book because there's a lot of good information in here, and I guess like kind of absorbed some of the info. And actually it is the Princeton review, so go Tigers. Moving on to honors. You get 5 spaces on the Common App to list a few honors, and I actually got 1 honor after I submitted like half of my apps, so I have like 2 different sets. My first honor was being a finalist in the United States National Chemistry Olympiad. I think that one's kind of self-explanatory. My second one was a 3rd prize in the Encore and International Music Competition, and a 2nd prize in the Great Composers International Competition. But like, it wasn't really a composition competition, it was like recordings and stuff. So, then I wrote about TMEA, haha, we got a little plaque here, but I wrote about TMEA being a 6A All-State clarinetist in grades 9 and 11. No, I didn't make it my sophomore year, but that's okay. And then I talked about the Dean Scholastic Award. So our school gives a Dean Scholastic Award each year to 1 guy and 1 girl. The last award that I wrote was being a National Merit semifinalist and a National AP Scholar. The honor that I got later was being a nationalist so I was selected as a nationalist. Okay, the honor that I got later was that I was selected as a nationalist. The honor that I got later was I was a national finalist for From the Top, which is oh right, so usually they pick performers, classical musicians, and then they perform on NPR. I updated that for some of my apps, including Princeton, so those are my awards and stuff, and now we can go on to my extracurricular activities. Alright, so a lot of my application was focused on music, and yes, I did submit music supplements for all the schools that I could. So of course, my first activity was being a member of the Houston Youth Symphony. So I was a member for 6 years, starting in 7th grade, and I was principal clarinetist in the top orchestra for 4 years, starting in freshman year. In non-musician terms, basically you're the section leader, and then you're gonna like play solos and the important parts and stuff like that. I also listed some notable rep that we performed, so really cool ones like Don Juan and Shasti 10 favorites. My second activity was just centered around volunteering, so I listed some of the clubs that I was in that focused on volunteering, like National Honor Society, National Beta Club, and SOAR, which is Students for Oncological Aid Relief. So for my third activity, I was one of the 2 high school students who were interning at the MD Anderson Cancer Center. It was an 8-week-long lab research program. So my description was basically the details of my research, and I included that I wrote an abstract that was accepted to a conference. Then I had math club because I was a part of it for 4 years in high school. I was treasurer in 9th and 10th grade, and then president in 11th and 12th. So in my description, I included that I was AME qualified. So for my 5th activity, I wrote that I was the principal clarinetist in the Houston Orchestra on Call. Basically, we perform volunteer concerts in the medical center, at retirement homes, and care centers for patients with dementia, in hospitals, and things like that. I was actually a piano soloist twice, and I played the Mendelssohn Piano Concerto. So I actually played this concerto in middle school as well because I won a piano competition, and that's actually on my channel. If you want to listen to that or see what I looked like in 7th grade, then you can go check that out. So my next 2 were music summer program. One of them was the Interlochen Orchestra summer program. I was one of the 8 clarinetists, and I went in the summer after 9th. The other was the Curtis Summerfest, which I went the summer before 12th, and it was obviously virtual. Okay, for my next one, I actually did include TikTok as my activity. I called myself a social media content creator centered around music entertainment. Look, I know that most of my followers came from that like snapping thing, but you know, you can loosely tie that to rhythm and music, so it works. So my 8th activity was being on the varsity basketball team for my school. I played shooting guard and small forward, and this was only in 11th grade because we didn't have a basketball team in 10th grade. My 9th activity, I talked about student council because it's more leadership. So I was treasurer in 9th and 10th grade, and then vice president in 11th grade. In my description, I talked about some of the things that we did as student council, like fundraise and organize for school-wide activities like dances or iFest or field day, things like that. Lastly, I wrote about this program called Sharing the Stand. So basically this program allows students to connect with mentors and take free private music lessons. So basically I'm a clarinet mentor, and I'm teaching this 5th grade clarinetist virtually since I think like July. Yeah, that section was pretty long, but it's kind of like the bulk of the Common App besides the essay, of course. That's basically all the detailed stuff like stats, extracurriculars, honors, classes, GPA, class rank. I didn't really add too much commentary or like advice because I thought that, you know, if you guys have any questions, then I can definitely make another video about it, or else it'd make this video way too long. And I know we all have a horrible attention span now, so. Also, I do want to give this disclaimer. So like, I don't actually know what got me into college. I haven't seen my admissions file or anything, but my best guess is, but you know, everything on my application helped, you know? So hopefully you guys found this fun, enjoyable, or at least helpful, maybe, hopefully not sad. So leave a like and a comment if you have any questions, and I'll do my best to either answer them in the comments or make a video addressing them. And feel free to reach out on Instagram because I do check my DMs sometimes, so yeah. Alright, that's all for this video, so thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.